Today is March 2nd, 2018. John, welcome.
What is the podcast? The Investitude podcast.
Oh, that's right. It is the
Unless you're doing it for Coin Boost International ICO channel.
No, we're doing straight up Investitude stuff today, John.
All right. Anyway, I'm fine with that.
Anyway, welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Good to be back.
Boy, you got like a stack of mail on your desk. You're just...
Man, pouring through all this stuff. You know, God knows. I don't know how you keep up with all this stuff when you're traveling as much. But, man, it was a good trip. 6 cities in 7 days.
Yeah, everybody was talking about like it never snows in London, but it snowed in Monaco.
Yeah, snowed in Monaco, snowed in Cannes. Wherever I was, it was snowing. I mean, honest to God, except for Milan. And it probably snows there, but it wasn't snowing there. They're close to the mountains, of course, but it wasn't snowing there. My gosh, Andrew, I was getting... a lot of work done, but getting kind of tired of seeing snow but not being able to do anything good with it.
Spring's right around the corner, John.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Spring chicken. Speaking of spring chicken, did you see, I woke up this morning, I looked at Donald, I got glasses. I got reading glasses.
Oh, did you?
Well, yeah, just one of them cheap ones, just so I could look at my retina screen on my iPhone.
Uh-huh.
I'm reading it this morning. It says, yeah, trade deal. It's going to be easy to fix. I'm like, oh, God, please. And I'm like, we're talking about Donald Trump's tweet this morning.
About the tariffs that he talked about yesterday. How trade wars are easy to win.
Yeah, trade wars are easy to win, which to me is like, first off, we shouldn't be talking about it. But if you got to, while you're on the can, like he does, don't say that they're going to be easy. If they were that easy to win. Well, when you're the biggest buyer on earth, they're easier to win. He is right about that. Let's hear what you have to say about
Sure.
this.
Well, first of all, I'm with you. I am against tariffs. I don't think it's a real true free market, however, because China's been dumping for years, and this hasn't stopped. They're just not dumping here. But since it's a global market for steel, folks, just like it's a global market for gold and other commodities, you can dump wherever the weakest players are. So they're not dumping here. Because they're dumping, Canada is pushing all kinds of steel to us. Now, they're not dumping. That's free trade, and I think that's fair trade. They're going to be impacted by a 25% tariff. So is Mexico. So is Europe. They're our allies, but they're going to be impacted by this because China's dumping in all the areas that they sell to. So, of course, they're going to sell here to us. Do I really think it's national security? No. But I do think that it's not fair trade policy. I will point out one thing that was pointed out this morning by the former head or CEO of Nucor. NUE. Look it up, folks. He said, the gentleman from Nucor said that the average car in the United States has 1 ton of steel in it. He said the average car sells for $36,000. He said the impact of a 25% tariff, you can look it up, folks, but a ton of steel goes for under $200 right now. So if you have a 25% increase, it could be that you're paying between $120 and $160 more for that car. Does that sound like the end of the world?
For the raw material. And I know.
Well, but that's the only thing we're talking about here, right? Uh-huh. I mean, we're not talking about the assembly of the car. It's not like he's putting a tariff on the assembly of the car. He says, okay, China's dumping a bunch of steel in here. They're not. But let's just say that he thinks that they are. He wants to slap a 25% tariff, which, as I said, will hurt our allies. Mexico, Canada, Europe. They're the ones mainly importing steel to us at this time. Japan also, four biggest importing steel to us. Now, if that increase hits every car for $160, does that wreck our economy? My answer is no. It's not even a rounding error on the car. A $36,000 vehicle paying $160 more is not a rounding error. I think people overreact to this. I don't think it'll have the same shakedown effects, but I don't think it's a good thing. I'm not supportive.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay. Given that, will he backpedal? And did the market show that today?
And or did he? I'll take it another step, Andrew. You say, will he or did he backpedal?
You know how he is. He throws that one. It's like the art of the deal. You come out hard and then you kind of step back a little bit.
Yep, you're right.
I'll give you $1 for your building. That's worth $2 billion. Let's start there.
You're reading it right.
Yeah.
The president loves to negotiate. I'm not saying every negotiation he does is right. He loves to negotiate. And he loves being, as I said, top of the show, when you're the biggest buyer in the world. of virtually everything. You can dictate terms and you can win trade wars. Now, I bet you saw this, Andrew, but not a lot of our listeners may have. But China had their trade minister in the White House today to talk with Trump. That was because yesterday they said we wanted to do this. Now, we haven't done it yet. We know what's on the table. 25% increase or tariff on steel, 10% on imports of aluminum. That's across the board. That's not just against China. That's across the board. So, as I've said, that hurts our allies. However, I think a lot of those allies and China, which China's just the first to react, came here and said, what do you really want? What do you really want to not do this?
So that it wasn't really a planned meeting. They actually went up and talked.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what it was the president apparently was sitting with members of various industry groups, and they were encouraging him to do this. Peter Navarro, one of his trusted aides, was encouraging him to do this. Gary Cohn was pushing back against it, as would you and I push back against it. But the president took the counsel of those business leaders instead of Gary Cohn and instead of you and me, who weren't in the room.
So they're sitting there saying, we're getting murdered.
Yeah, you got to do something about this, blah, blah, blah. And we're losing jobs and we're losing this and that.
They presented a more compelling case because they're all business people.
Right. And he bought their argument. And he's felt that way long ago.
Well, from one business person to another. I mean, you can, somebody says, I'm getting killed. Whereas some theoretical,
some academician
comes in and says, well, if you do this, then this trade deficit's going to affect the balance over here, which is going to
it's going to move. It's going to create more job losses than you're going to fix.
And then you got somebody that's actually in construction they're killing me. Yeah, I make
We'll see how it plays out. I'm not saying the president is playing 4D chess for all of you folks who are thinking that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I know how he negotiates. And if you guys don't know how he negotiates yet, then you haven't been watching. Because this is how he negotiates. He basically blusters hard and then tries to get somebody to push, to say, okay, what do you really want? That's what China's doing right now. They're in New York, they're in Washington saying, what do you really want? I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up saying, I got what I wanted. They agreed to cut, dumping this much steel. Because right now, Andrew, China has agreed to quit dumping steel in 2020. So that's a little bit into the future.
That's like the one that...
that's not like right here, right now.
That reminds me of the that crazy, not NAFTA. What's the other one they had? That deal that Obama was trying to ram down our throats.
TPP. Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah, where they had all these different benchmarks at different times. It's like, they don't have to stop... Like, India doesn't have to start doing anything for like another 10 years.
Exactly.
Some stupid stuff.
Yeah. And we have to pay for India to get off of coal fire and all the rest. It's like, really? We have to? Well, because you guys will get hurt because the acid rain and because of the global warming, which, by the way, again, with snow everywhere, I'm not so much seeing the global warming.
I can feel the hate coming already, John. They're typing away right now. They're in the comments.
Type.
They're in the comments section.
Yeah, you're a climate denier.
Climate denier. All right.
Temperatures go up, they go down.
Forget all that. What are we trading? I mean, I
VXX. Look at how this one's working. Folks, if you watched me on Halftime Report today, right. You heard me talk about this one. I had to basically maneuver it in because I told him when I saw it, VXX, which is the ETN, that's exchange traded note, not fund, note, for VIX futures. So I saw it this morning when it was trading 50-50. All of a sudden, they came in and bought a bunch of out-of-the-money puts, Andrew. It was at 50. They bought a bunch of puts, and I said, hey, I think I should cover this for unusual. They said, we like your Deutsche Bank better, which I'll get to. Take a guess where it is now. The iPath.
Well, being that it's just sitting right in front of me on your desk, it's at 45.42.
Yeah, it's down $5 from the high of the day. Take a look. High of the day, folks. Look at this. High of the day for the VXX, Andrew. What do you see right there? 50.68. So it's $5 under. It's
disqualify for a bang. Okay.
Yeah, we'll make some money on that. My point was that when you look at this one, folks, February 8th, when volatility peaked at, I want to say, Andrew, the VXX peaked at 55, pulled back down to 40 in 4 days. So I bought this one saying I think it's going back down to 40 or 42. Bought it, making money, taking half off, still have a nice size position in it. And I think it keeps going lower, especially as people sort of digest and understand that, well, none of us or most of us are not in favor of a trade war. I hope we don't get it. If it's $160 per car, that's only one example. But if it's $160 on a $36,000 vehicle, I don't think it's going to make or break the economy.
That all makes sense, and I agree with you. But you know what? It's the herd mentality of the markets. Will anything? Let's call this a weekend podcast because I'll probably put this up Saturday.
All right.
Will anything happen over the weekend? I have a feeling. This is just my gut. That it ain't over. This weekend, there's going to be another something. I don't know what it is. We're seeing a little light at the end of the tunnel today on Friday, but I don't know. I've kept my powder dry. I mean, I still have some positions.
I think you're smart to do that.
But I have enough cash to jump if there's something.
And what did you say before we started the podcast? Your portfolio was only experiencing a minor drawdown today. And that's when we were down. We were down as many as 400 points today, folks.
Yeah, it was only down like $2,000.
And we're looking around going, well, we must have the right stocks then because we're not going down as much as the market. And sure enough, the market's been coming back. The NASDAQ was positive by noon.
Yeah, pick stocks that you can live with, which for me is Apple, Adobe, American Airlines.
Sure.
And then, of course, AMD, which is just a trading stock. The A stocks. How about crypto cheese? Let's go there. Anything?
Oh, all right. Let's go to crypto cheese. I didn't know that's what we were calling it now. But
we're calling it cheese now.
All right.
Crypto cheese have been kind of trading sideways all week in the Bitcoin market. And
right now, Bitcoin's trading 11,026
and we put
to the dollar.
And we put out a call on the Investitude site, which is the Fibbo call, which is they like
Fibonacci, Fibbo.
But they put that out, and that's done by our friend
Gary Berman.
Yeah, and it's on the Investitude website, and I think we tweet it out, so you can read it. But go dig in there. I'll put a link to it in the show notes here.
Cool.
That you can check out. And
I like it. I think cryptos are acting pretty well. I mean, look at the stocks that were down this morning, folks. I told you about Deutsche Bank, by the way, unusual activity, bought that one. But let me take a look at some of the steel stocks. So, for instance, Nucor, on the lows today, Nucor traded down to $65.96. Nucor is $2 higher than that right now. This is a steel stock. They make steel out of scrap usually, not from the raw materials that, a lot of the others. If you look at X, which is U.S. Steel, one of the biggest U.S., they're still down 2%. They were down to 43.22. They are at 45.20. They're also up nearly $2 off the lows. These are big 4% moves off the lows. Not saying it's all over, but I'm just saying watch that. That's your tell.
I know, because Sunday talk shows, which I don't even watch cable news anymore. It's impossible to watch. They're going to be pushing this. Trump's an idiot. Trump doesn't know what he's doing in trade.
Yep.
Well, all these things might be true, but the market is what do they say?
Arbiter.
Yeah, what do they say? Money goes where it's well respected and well treated or something. And
I think that is it.
Something like that. So, I mean, you could say and talk and go and say whatever you want. But if U.S. Steel goes up $3, that's not because, someone willed it for no reason. It's real money going after real stock.
Yep. I think next week will be interesting. I think it'll be interesting how many world leaders reach out to the president. They all reacted as you'd expect, especially Justin Trudeau in Canada. I can't even take that clown seriously.
God, he's funny. He's been lighting up Twitter with all those crazy outfits from India.
Oh, my God.
They keep showing, did you see them pictures?
Pandering is what I'd call it.
Yeah, but he had on the flowers, and he dressed up his kids that way. His kids are when they turn 18, they're going to be going on Sally Jesse Raphael, and they're going to be you did this to me, Dad. You made me dress like a
weirdo.
Fool. Everybody made fun of me worldwide. No, they made fun of me, son. But he would look kind of fun. I mean, he was just. There was one he would look like.
You can go a certain level, but if you go too far, you end up looking like you're pandering. He looked like he was pandering.
Well, we don't know. We don't know the whole story behind that. Maybe that's the thing to do when you go to India, is to dress up like in them.
I can't remember seeing Merkel dressed up like that. Can't remember seeing Trump dressed up like that. I didn't see Obama dressed up like that except when he went to Kenya. I know when he went to Kenya, he wore that weirdo outfit.
If somebody was paying for me to go to India, I'd wear whatever the hell they want. I'd wear them shoes that look like Alibaba.
With the curly toes.
Somebody's going to that's the Indians don't wear stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying.
Really?
I'd wear whatever.
That's the Arabs, Andrew.
I know.
Persians. Not the Arabs, because that's different.
I would dress up in that getup as long as they weren't serving me too much vegan food. You know, they'd have to have a little bit of some chicken masala. But it sounded like fun. All right, so that's Canada.
Yeah.
We hit the Justin Trudeau. I can put a picture.
We did this with 15 minutes before the market closed, folks. So we're letting you know that the Dow was still down over 100 when we started the podcast. S&P was up 10. NASDAQ was up 64. Does that sound like a market that's like saying this is going to really hurt us? Or like a market that says, just like the beginning of the week, maybe it was a little overreaction to Powell. Maybe this a little overreaction to Trump. And or maybe people think that he used it to bluster his way into a better deal. Okay. We'll see Monday. Andrew, I'm back here Monday.
Yes.
So we'll do another podcast Monday. We'll follow up.
All right. Then that sounds good. Everybody have a good weekend.
Take care.